Alright guys, first and foremost, Tactacam giveaway. You want a Tactacam? You want a free cell cam? Yeah, I think you do. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the drill. I'm not going to beat it to death, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, drop a comment. We give away a lot of stuff on this channel, so at the very least, if you don't win this one, maybe you win a bow next time. Maybe you win a new truck. Who knows? Okay, I'm probably not giving away a truck, but you never know. Let's get into it. You don't need water holes. I said it. That's a hot topic right now, guys, and I don't necessarily understand why. I've heard a lot of guys say that they're always putting in these water holes, they're always putting in these water holes, they're always putting in these water holes. They're buying like $700, $800, $900, $1,000, $1,200 tubs to put in the ground so that they have a water hole. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but I also kind of understand where these guys are coming from, because a quick Google search, how much water does a deer need a day, will tell you, I don't know exactly what the number was again, but it'll give you a number, and that's where we stop. That's where our brain stops, and instantly, you and I, we go, oh, we need water. We need water. But here's the thing, guys. Here's what we need to understand about deer and the difference between deer and human. We're not the same thing. So when you and I, we get hot, we perspire, we sweat. We lose moisture, we lose liquid, we lose water at the end of the day. What happens to a deer is their hide will actually stand up, the hairs will stand up. They are an air-cooled animal. The way I look at it is we are liquid-cooled. They don't need as much water, and they don't need it in the same facet as we do. So now here's what I'm going to tell you guys. Do I think that a water hole could be beneficial? Yeah, I mean, you might get some pictures if it's hot. You might be able to kill a deer over water holes. I don't see it super often. Maybe every once in a while, but very rarely. What it comes down to, guys, is deer don't actually need water in the same ways that we need it. And in fact, here's the number that nobody talks about. You know, everybody wants to talk about the mass amount of, or the amount of water that a deer drinks in a day. Well, they're not drinking it a lot of times, guys. They're getting it through natural forage. About 80% of a whitetail's water consumption takes place through natural forage. So do they need X amount of water? Of course they do. Are they going to your pond, pool, river to drink it all the time? No, they're not. So here's why I'm bringing this up. It's not because somebody uses it and I think it's a bad idea and I don't like that. It's nothing like that. The reality is, guys, is that when I go to these properties, it's some of the first things that you guys are doing. And I think it can be beneficial to a property. I think there's probably a time and a place in which you should have them. But that's part of the 10%. We got to worry about the first 90% to get the property to where it's got to be. Because I think a lot of you can agree with me when I say this next statement. I don't think a deer's coming from 240 acres away to hit your water hole. Is he coming to your property if you have the best bedding area on the block? Best food on the block that has moisture content in it? Here's what it comes down to, guys. You should be focused on your bedding areas and even your food plots, because if we just think about a bedding area, now we create natural forage on the ground. There's obviously vegetation for the deer there, and then 80% of their water consumption comes from that. Like, it just makes sense that way. And how do I know this to be fact, guys? Think about the Northwoods. Some of you might not be from Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. If deer truly needed to drink X amount of ounces of water per day, how would they do that when it's frozen? Oh, they go to where there's a river. No, all deer don't just like navigate to where there's a river. I can tell you of places where I've lived where there's been 3 to 4 feet of snow throughout an entire winter. Do you think they're going to a river then? They're probably not going to make it alive if they need X amount of ounces per day. They're getting it through natural browse, guys. We don't need water holes. They are supplemental to a tree stand area, mock scrape area, but don't make this a #1 priority on your property. There are other things we need to focus on to bring the deer to the property. And once he's on the property, maybe that's the thing that pulls him into range. We need to understand why and how deer use water at the end of the day. I'm not saying they'll never use a water hole. That's not what I'm saying. I'm never saying that they're not going to stop at a creek bottom or whatever the case is. But they don't need it in the same facet that a human does. And if you think that they do, you're probably going to rank that as a higher priority than you should on your property, and ultimately be wasting time doing things that aren't bringing bucks to your property from hundreds of acres away. You're probably only just supplementing what's there. So think about that next time you think about putting in a water hole.